Hi friends, it's Magpie here. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to show you all of the gear that I brought on my thru-hike of the Muir Trail. My boyfriend and I live full-time in this 1987 Winnebago that I'm filming in, and we hiked the Muir Trail in June of 2022. I'm going to tell you what gear I liked and disliked, and hopefully that will help you narrow down what gear you need for your thru-hike of the Muir Trail or any other thru-hike you're doing. I'm going to list and link every piece of gear in the description down below, so make sure you check that out, and let's get started. So first I'm gonna start off with my backpack. I used an REI Flash 55 for my whole thru-hike. It is an internal frame backpack and it retails at about $200. I really like this pack and all the features it has. It was very comfortable for me, which was important because I actually have lumbar scoliosis and I was very worried about having a pack that was going to hurt my back. It has hip belt pockets that are big enough to fit my phone and snacks for the day, and I was able to fit all 17 days worth of things into this pack fine. My favorite feature is the water bottle pocket. My arms are too short to reach into the actual side pocket of the backpack. Having this extra bottle pocket makes the water bottles really accessible for me, which I very much enjoyed. The one downside to this pack, I would say, is it is a little heavy. I would like to go lighter eventually, but I think I'm going to use this backpack until it essentially falls apart. I think that this is a great beginner backpack. It's not very expensive compared to other ones on the market. Next, I'm going to talk about my sleeping setup. The first thing is our tent. It was the North Face Stormbreak 2, which is a 2-person tent because we were hiking with 2 people. It weighs in at 5 pounds and 5 ounces at a price point of $185. It does need poles and stakes. This tent is almost perfect. It's really easy to set up. I'm setting it up by myself here. It never blew over. It never got wet, but it has one quality that I cannot quite get over. These zippers on this thing are impossible to use with one hand. The cloth gets all stuck in the zipper. You have to use both hands and fight it to unzip the rain fly and the tent, and it is super annoying. You might not think that's a big deal, but when you're using this tent every single day, this gets so infuriating. We would basically do rock, paper, scissors in the mornings to decide who was gonna fight the tent to go get the bear cans with our breakfast and stuff in it. I really want to get rid of this tent and try a different one because neither of us really like that part of this tent. But other than that, it is perfect, so it's really unfortunate that that is so annoying. What the tent looks like all set up, you can see on the inside it's very spacious. Nick has more than enough room to set up his setup right next to mine. It's got a bunch of pockets in here for us to store our things. Like I said, this is a good tent, but definitely not a perfect tent. For my sleeping pad, I used a Klymit Static V Lite. This thing is awesome. It weighs 1 pound and 4 ounces and has a price point of $100. You do have to blow it up yourself. It is not self-inflatable, which you can see me doing here, but I honestly don't really mind that. My only complaint here is I wish that it was a little lighter, and I will probably upgrade to a lighter one in the future, but I've had no problems with it. It hasn't leaked or anything like that on me, and I've used it for over 300 miles of backpacking. Next is my NEMO Fillo Elite Pillow. This is one of my luxury items on the trail. It only weighs 3 ounces and it costs about $45. I like flatter pillows, so if you like flatter pillows, then this one might be a good one for you. Finally, my favorite piece of gear is my NEMO Disco 15 sleeping bag. It weighs 3 pounds and 1 ounce. This thing is so warm. When we were on trail, like I said, in June, the lows were probably mid to high 30s, and I was never cold in my NEMO, especially when I zipped it all the way up. Another thing that I really like about this bag is the shape. This one is considered a spoon shape, so it's kind of like a mummy, but a little bit more space in there. I think that that is the perfect amount of room, and I'm still able to keep really warm in it. I think that this is a good bag that you can take pretty much anywhere. Again, the only downside here is the size and the weight. Here is everything set up. You can see that Nick still has plenty of room to set up all of his stuff, and doesn't it look so comfy and cozy in there? Next, I want to talk about what I used for my food and water setup. Nick and I cooked all of our food in this TOAKS Titanium 750 ml pot. I use this little plastic hair tie to keep it closed. That's a hack if you did not know that. It weighs 3.6 ounces and costs $35. It's pretty lightweight, nothing fancy. It does have the measurements inside, and I'm able to keep all of my cookware inside the pot. The first thing I have in there is my stove. This is a ERS stove, and if you're thinking to yourself, that looks really cheap, it's because it is. This thing is only $17. I love this thing. I have never had an issue with it. It's super light. It again has gotten me through over 300 100 miles of backpacking, so I have no complaints here. As you can see, I'm also able to keep my fuel. And lastly, my Bic lighter. I get the little mini ones. So here I'm just demoing for you how this is put together. It's just like any other stove. You screw it on there real nice and tight, and I pour my filtered water right in the pot, light it up, and she's ready to go. I would say this boils water within 2 to 5 minutes, and if you're on a budget, I would suggest trying this thing. My last piece of cookware here is my little camping spoon fork that I have. This thing is super light and cheap as it looks. I honestly don't like this thing very much. It isn't long enough to get into my bags of food, so it's always really dirty and gross and I have to clean it. So I want to get one that's just a spoon with like a really long handle. I think that would work a lot better. For our food storage, we used Bear Vaults. I carried a Bear Vault 450, which is the small one, and Nick carried a Bear Vault 500. The Bear Vault 450 is 2.1 pounds and costs $80. It's usually recommended that each person carries their own 500 Bear Vault, but we were able to fit both of our food in there by making some sacrifices that I kind of talked about in my last video, and I'll talk a little bit about here, but essentially we just packed really small stuff. I'm going to show you a little example of what we kept in our Bear Vault. So we packed bars, and then for dinners we always had instant mashed potatoes. That was one of the sacrifices we made to fit all of our food in here. For lunch we would have tuna and then like some other type of carb, and then for breakfast we would always have instant oats. Again, another sacrifice we made. I personally don't really like carrying bear cans. They're big and clunky and extra weight, but they are required on the John Muir Trail, so that is why we had them. For water, I carried 2 Smartwater bottles with the sports caps. Each of these bottles weighs 1.2 ounces empty, and the water filter I used was the Katadyn BeFree filter. I think this is a really good beginner filter. However, I have switched over to the Sawyer now, just because on a trip this long, my Katadyn was getting clogged, and it was just a really slow flow by the end. So how you use this thing is you just scoop up water in the little bladder from the stream or wherever, screw off the top of your bottle, and you just squeeze it on down in there. It's super easy, pretty much foolproof. I still bring my Katadyn on day hikes and things like that, but I think for my next backpacking trip, I'm gonna stick to the Sawyer. Next are my toiletries and electronics. I keep them all in this Sea to Summit dry bag. It's a 13 liter. It weighs 2.5 ounces and costs $26. It rolls up really small and keeps your stuff dry when it rains. For a portable charger, I brought this Charmast. It's got a lot of different plugs, and it's really nice. It gives my phone 3 to 4 charges per full charge. I also brought this Sea to Summit Wilderness wash to wash my hands and dishes. For going potty outside, I brought this Deuce No. 2 aluminum trowel. It's a little pricey at $20, but this is the lightest trowel you're gonna find, and it obviously works fine. This is like the hidden gem in my bag. It's the Petzl Bindi headlamp, and nobody ever talks about it. It only weighs 1.4 ounces and can be recharged via micro USB. It's $45 on Amazon, and it's got a lot of different settings, and we use this thing all the time. In here, I also keep my very sad first aid kit. Mom, please skip this part of the video if you're watching. I have a pill thing that I have Tylenol and ibuprofen in. I have a few alcohol pads for minor cuts, and of course some band-aids. I also have these KT tape band-aid things. They are super good for preventing blisters. I have my toothbrush, which yes, I am one of those people who cuts their toothbrush in half, and Nick carries the toothpaste. I promise I use toothpaste. The last thing I keep in there is my head net. It is a Coghlan's no seam head net. It's 0.3 ounces and $5 on Amazon. This thing is a necessity on the John Muir Trail. If you are hiking this, make sure to pick yourself up a bug net. It saved my life so many times on trail. Now let's get into the clothes. Seeing them all laid out like this, I didn't realize how much clothes I actually brought, and I brought less clothes than most people bring, I think. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is my undergarments. I have a merino wool sports bra and underwear. I highly recommend getting merino wool or some synthetic material to make it antibacterial and quick dry. Definitely don't wear a bra with wiring. I'm not going to model these for you for obvious reasons. I have no complaints about these. I will link the exact ones in the description. Next, I have my base layers that I wore when I slept. This shirt I've had forever. It's called a Cuddle Duds crew neck. You can find them on Amazon for $37, but it's really warm. And then I'm sorry, I don't know where these leggings are from because I thrifted them for like $5. I wore the same shirt throughout the whole trail. It is a sun shirt from the brand Little Donkey Andy. It's $33 on Amazon. Again, I'll link the exact one that I got. I do not recommend ordering these shirts. I ordered 3 of them from this company and they all come in different materials. Some of them are thicker, some of them are more breathable. This was one of the more breathable ones that I kept, but I ended up returning the other 2 shirts because they just were like a thick clothy material and that's not what I wanted. I recommend just getting a sun shirt from a different brand, not this one, but the button-up sun shirt is a really good idea. For my pants, I wore non-wee outdoor quick dry cargo pants. They have a price point of $40. I was very lucky that these were zip off. By day 3 or 4, I zipped them off and I never put them back on. They were so hot, it was like a sauna in there. I was just chafing in places that I didn't even know I could chafe. It was horrible. I do not recommend buying these pants for a longer trip. That was my outfit for the whole trail. I wore this buff every day. It was a gift. I don't know what brand it is. It's handy for a lot of different things. I also made my own pea cloth. A lot of people use those Kula pea cloths. I'm sure those are great, but they're just a little pricey for me, so I just cut up my own bandana and used that. The socks that I wore were Smart Wool hiking socks. They are a little pricey at $24 a pair, but they are so worth it. I have about 4 pairs of these in total, and I've used them for over 800 miles of hiking just this year, and they are amazing. I don't have any holes in them at all, and they're also really warm at nighttime. I hiked the whole trail in La Sportiva Ultra Raptor 2s. These are a very lightweight boot, and if you are adamant on getting a boot for hiking, then I would highly recommend these. They are waterproof, which was super nice on this trail. They gave me very minimal blisters, but still a little bit of blisters. I have since graduated to Ultra Lone Peak 5s. I will never wear another hiking shoe again. I can do a whole separate video on why I love those shoes so much, but like I said, these are still a really good hiking boot, and I recommend if you really want a boot. For my camp shoes, I wore a pair of Chacos. They were also good for water crossings. These are the Z1 Classic sandals. They're $100, and if you get them in an ugly color like I did, they're even cheaper. I think I got them for like $80. For my rain jacket, I used a Frog Tog. This is a very budget-friendly rain jacket. It's around $20 on Amazon. It didn't rain the whole time we were on the John Muir Trail, so I mostly just used it as an extra layer, especially at night. And I promise you, if you wear your puffy and this over it and zip it all up, you are not getting cold. The one downside to this is it does not have pockets. I wish it did. My puffy is a Decathlon 4-Class Trek 100. It is $90. It is down. You can't get this wet, which is one of the cons, but this thing is so warm. I wear it all the time. Even when I'm not backpacking, I wear it in the van a lot. I highly recommend this. It's pretty light and compacts down really small like you saw at the beginning. I tried a few different sun hats, but I eventually settled on this Sunday afternoon Ultra Adventure hat, which is $42 because the back is flat. I had an adventure hat, a Columbia one that went all the way around, and it kept hitting the back of my pack, and it was really annoying. So I got this one to fix that problem, and I like this hat a lot. It's really nice. And then my warm hat is the REI lightweight beanie. That is $20. I wore it to sleep all the time. I wore it on the cold mornings. It is light, it is small, and I have no complaints. My last piece of gear is my Black Diamond trekking poles. I got the ones with the cork handles. They are pretty pricey at $140. These poles have lasted for a long time. My #1 recommendation for you is to learn how to use your poles before you go out. You might not think there's a wrong way, but there definitely is, and I had some gnarly blisters on both of my hands that hurt really bad because I was not using my poles correctly. I have no complaints other than user error, and that is everything that I brought on my through hike of the John Muir Trail. We did 225 miles through the Sierras in the summer of 2022, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. So here's me fitting all of my stuff that I just talked about into my pack exactly how I carried it on the trail, and I hope this video was helpful to you and helped you maybe find some new gear that you hadn't heard of before. Again, the links to everything are going to be in the description down below, so if you want to check any of it out, feel free. And I just want to thank you guys so much for checking out my channel, watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to answer them. Make sure if you like this video that you like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications so that you get notified when I post new videos about backpacking, van life, and adventures. I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy trails.